Hi, this is Yasama Mira Hobby Sabet, a student ID 1012177770, Comp 2152, Open Source Development, Lab Professor Maziar Sejudian, and I'm recording this video for my final project. So let's begin with the project idea. Between the ideas, I choose idea number 3, the library, and I created a library application that allow user to search books by the title, author, and the category. And I have a book class that has a property for book ID, book title, author, category, and the quantity, on also the availability of the book. My application display information about the book and also its availability, and the application lets user to rent one or more books in any combination of the authors, titles, and categories. And after the renting transaction, it will update the quantity and availability of the book. And also after the transaction, the application will generate and display a receipt to the user. And for the following, I'm going to show you how I achieved the basic, intermediate, and also the advanced requirements for this project. So for the coding part, um, first I imported the necessary libraries for my project. Here I have the database part, and that I created database connection. I created the table from the database. In my main function, I have the function to create three tables. The first one is my book with the ID, the title, author, category, quantity, and the availability. The second table is for my users with the ID and name. And the third table is has the ID, the user ID, book ID from the other two tables, and the rental date and the return date. Then I have another function for inserting data, which I insert some raw data to my database just to show how the program works. And here here is my user data. Then I have the model part which contain my book class, the user class, and the rental class. For the book class, I have a I have a class with the property of the title, author, category, quantity, and the availability based on the quantity, and the function to save the books to the database. Then I have another function for borrow, for the return, for updating the availability of the book. Here I have another function for my book class as search that retrieves data based on the search that the user do, and it do the search based on the title and the author and the category. And another function for the get all books, it will show all the books in the database to the user. Here I have the user class. It has the ID and the name for it, and the get all user function that show all the user that is saved in the database. Here we have the rental class that generate the ID for the rental, the user ID, and the book ID from the other two tables, rental date and the return date. A function for borrowing a book and getting the borrowed book, and it's show the borrowed book for the user. and also the return book that's gonna return the borrowed book. I have a function for the calculating the due date based on the rental date and the period of 30 days. Um, Also, I have the get all rentals with details that show all the rental information to the user. And for the graphical interface, I use GUI platform. In the GUI part, I first set up, I have a function for setting up the GUI. I have my root and the title as a library management system. And here I have the dimension for the interface application, and here I have some styling. In my interface I have several tabs. The first one is for books. It's gonna show the list of my books and calling the setup all books tab. The second tab is for the user. It's gonna show the list of all user in the system. Then I have a tab for searching book, borrow book, return book, and the last one for the receipt. My first tab has the, here is how I design it. I have two parts, a scroller bar and an area for the as a book result area that's gonna show the list of the book. And for that purpose, I have a function for displaying all the books that retrieve books title, all the property of the books from the database and show it to the user. For my user tab, it's the same. I have the scroller bar and the text area, and a function to display all the user. It's go the same for the search tab almost. So we have the result area. I have the part that the user can enter the title, the author, or the category of the book they are looking for, and a button to search for that input. So for the search button, I have a function for searching the book, and which gonna search through my database from the book that the user is looking for. And the next tab, I have the borrow tab, and in the borrow tab, the I'm gonna show this, I mean each part of the these tabs when I run the program. So I have a frame for user ID, for book ID. I have a result area to show the to show all the available books, all the available user, and also I have a the list for if the user wanna borrow multiple books at a time. And for that function I have add book to the list, and here I have another function, refresh books and user display, which is for the button I designed in that tab that's gonna refresh the page after each transaction. And the borrow book function, here is some other function that I designed for the buttons I have inside the interface. And the next tab is for the return. The same logic just go around here too, refreshing, returning, and the setup, the tab setup, and the last tab is for the receipt. It's same also here, the setup function, updating the receipt after each transaction and generating the receipt. So let's run and see how the program works. So when a user runs the program, they can see this window. The first tab is for the book list. It has also a refresh button. The user can see each book with the ID, with the title, author, category, and availability, and also the quantity of the book. Here is a list of all available books that I already have in the database. The next tab is for the user list. That's gonna show all the users that are in the system, and also again the refresh button. So the third tab is about searching a book that a user can search based on the title. For example, we're gonna say Harry, and you can see all the book that has the title as Harry. Or a user can search based the author, for example, Outwood, and you can say all the book is written by that author. Or based on the category, and here is the book that has that category. And the next tab, I have the borrow book tab. So in this tab, first the user can see the list of available books with the book ID, the title, author, and the quantity. And after that, they can see a list of all users. And here we have the functions for borrowing a book. So first, a user can enter a user ID. For example, we're going to say user number 2 and the book ID they want. They can go to the list, or they can go back to the searching tab, search for the book they are looking for, get the ID. And for example, we're going to say number 10, book ID 10, add. They can add one book, they can borrow one book at a time, or they can borrow multiple books to refer. We're gonna say number also 11, and another book ID 14. Gonna go here, we're gonna say okay, book ID 4, and let's do another one, book ID 8. So here they have a list of all books they wanted to borrow, and they can say okay, borrow. And after borrowing, the system generates a message as all selected books have been borrowed successfully, and another one that say check your receipt in the receipt tab. They can come to the receipt tab, and it's this tab gonna show the user all the books they borrowed. They have the information, the title of the book. It said book, for example, A Game of Thrones, borrowed by user number 2. The user ID 2 borrowed the book on this date and the time, and the book must be returned in this time, which is 30 days after the borrow date. And the second book, third, and all the books they borrowed that time. And here I have the return tab. In the return tab, there is a list of all the borrowed books. You can say the rental ID, the title of the borrowed book, the user that borrowed the book, and the status as this rental is has been returned or not. So here is the not returned, and if you go to the end of the list, there are some returned books also. So let's go with this one. So rental ID 1 is not returned yet. So if a user wanna return that book, they can say okay, rental ID 1 and return, and it say book returned successfully, and you can see that the rental ID 1 status changed to return. Let's do another one. Rental ID 5 return, and as you can see, the rental ID 5 now has the status of return. Also, so if the user number 2, let's say borrowing book ID 1, so the quantity is 10. Upon borrowing that book, the quantity of the book will change to the 9, and it also will be updated in the book list. And here, so you can see the book we borrowed is rental ID 33, user number 2, and yes, book number 1. So by returning which this book right now has a quantity of 9, and by returning it 33, now we can see the quantity goes up to 10. So that was all the function of my program. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you. Bye.